School for an architect is not an intelligence event. It's an endurance contest. It's the last man standing. I mean, it's known in school as a endurance thing. I think coming to California was a major event in my life. I didn't want to leave Colorado because I had so many strings there, but I finally got tired of the ups and downs of the economy. It was just brutally difficult to try to put any money away, and that was one of the best decisions I ever made. You know, I read an article about the fact that subconscious is only a data system. It doesn't do any planning, but I know that that's not true. I know that it has shaped me, and I think that's where real love comes from. Well, it's not rational. I mean, I've got so many stories about what my subconscious did for me. It'll probably take too long to go into right now, but why do people fall in love with people they shouldn't fall in love with? I mean, it's not rational. You know you shouldn't fall in love with this person. They don't make any sense. They don't do what you want. You don't like them doing this, whatever. I mean, your family hates, whatever. And yet you fall deeply in love over it. And I just think you're driven by your subconscious. I've just got, and actually my subconscious is one of the reasons we came to California. My wife was, we were living on a cul-de-sac, and the county would come through and plow the collector, but they wouldn't plow our cul-de-sac. And so they leave this huge ridge of snow, and we couldn't get out. There were like 5 houses in this cul-de-sac. So my wife says, you know, and if your snowblower is this much, 2 inches lower than the top of the snow, it won't do anything. Did you know that? It doesn't do anything. It's worthless. So you got to have a snowblower that's higher than the amount of snow. So my wife says, I'm going to get you the biggest snowblower in Colorado for next year. And I said, but we're not going to be living here. I was at least as astonished as she was.
It just kind of jumped out, huh?
It came out just like that. And I was sitting there saying, well, who said that? I mean, there have been several of those in my life. And we weren't living there next year. We were living in California. So it's just, and I also think, why am I competing today? I actually have more money than I can probably ever spend. And very recently I've come to the idea that, you know, my parents, my grandparents put such high expectations on me that I'm still trying to fulfill them, happily so. I can't think of any other reason, but I love it. What inspires me is a businessman that will go out of his way not to be not opportunistic. A guy you can trust when you're not in the room, when you're not in the area, and he'll look out for your interests. Meticulously honest. There's very few people like that.
I was going to ask you, do you have a specific example?
Well, my 2 partners right now are like that. The steel company guy, who was my junior partner, is exactly like that, and so is the CEO of my venture company. They're both solid. There's one guy in Colorado that was like that. I didn't have to watch my back. But almost everybody takes advantage of, if you give them an opportunity to be opportunistic, take the short-term benefit and screw the long-term deal, they'll take it. And I think it's the dumbest thing people do, is take advantage of somebody. And I honestly think I did that deliberately, is let people, I get into a deal, I let them take advantage of me, just to see if they would, and they always did. I remember reading a book when I was in high school about, the thesis of the book was, the guy was an opportunist about everything he did. And of course he ended up in bad shape. And even before I got to high school, I didn't know anything. But I said, I'm not going to be an opportunist in my life. I'm not going to do that. And I have really, really been able to do that. I will not take the short-term advantage to help myself. And, you know, the long-term is what I've always gone for, and it's been really good to me.
You read a lot.
Oh, I read a lot, yeah.
Uh, why are you such a voracious reader? Where did that come from?
It's kind of interesting. I had a friend who was, I stayed with him the summer I was a freshman in college. His father was president of Hupmobile Corporation. He got us jobs working for the Chevrolet plant in Cleveland. And he was ahead of me in reading and in use of words and so on and so forth. I mean, I majored in Joanne and sports when I was in high school, right? And I said, this guy's ahead of me. So I just started reading a book a week all through college that had nothing to do with my college work. And I continued that, and I still do that today. And I think it's been a big help. It's extraordinary. I think people who don't read just don't understand so much about what goes on in the world. I mean, the perception that you get from reading is just extraordinary.